Internal conflict. This is the last key in the building blocks of the emotional plot for your character. We talked about the internal goal. We talked about the internal motivation. Go back and watch those videos if you haven't. Now we're coming to the part that makes it really tense for the reader and makes the reader turn the pages so that they can find out what happened. So what is internal conflict? Just like with external conflict, it's all of the buts that get in your character's way. Difference is they're the emotional buts. And we all have a lot of emotional buts.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
A lot of emotional reasons that we don't want to do this and don't want to do that and don't want to say this or say that. All of the things that get in the way of your character growing and changing. It's mostly deep down fears and insecurities. For an example, let's look at Edward in Pretty Woman. Edward's internal goal is to get in and out of his deals in LA without any relationships, without getting close to anyone. Why? And this is his internal motivation, because the people that he has loved most in the world, especially his father, have hurt him. And so he's going to be this wall of armor and he's just going to be successful and he is not going to get close to anybody. Which is why he hires Vivian, who is a prostitute, because he figures that there's no emotional connection with that. If he has an emotional connection, then he will soften, and he is afraid of doing that because to him that represents failure. But Vivian is different. She also protects her heart and doesn't get close to anybody. But they begin to soften towards each other because they recognize commonalities between each other. That commonality is building the bond between the characters and the viewer. That is why Pretty Woman is such a classic movie, because we can all relate to that, having that emotional wall up so that people don't hurt us. The problem for Edward, the internal conflict, is when he starts to have feelings. He starts to care about Vivian. You see that in the scene where she's watching I Love Lucy. Vivian is what you see is what you get. She's very open and very much herself, and he envies that a little bit. On top of that, he starts caring about the owner of the business that he's buying. These all create conflicts for Edward. Throughout the movie, he has begun to see a shadow of what his life could be like. That hope, that glimmer moment, which is something I've talked about in another video, that begins to open his heart to the possibility of being vulnerable and allowing people in. So he's got this constant push-pull inside himself. Do I stay in my comfort zone or do I go ahead and go all in? That is internal conflict. What does Edward do? He pushes Vivian away. Yes, he does soften and make a deal with the owner of the company. The more scary part for him is opening up his heart. And so at the end, he pays Vivian, she goes off, and he tells himself he's happy. Just like when Shrek gets his swamp back and he goes back and it's empty, he tells himself he's happy. We know that emotionally Shrek is missing Donkey and Pinocchio and Gingy and all of his new friends. Shrek realizes that swamp life all alone is not all that it's cracked up to be anymore now that he's experienced the real world with other people. It's the same thing for Edward. He's in that hotel room and he's all by himself and he realizes what he wanted is not what it's cracked up to be. It is not giving him the satisfaction that he expected. This is when your character reaches a crossroads, which we'll talk about in later videos. But this is when they have a choice to overcome their internal conflict and have the life that they deserve, which means this is when they have the choice to grow and change. I say it all the time because that's what characters are there on the page to do. Remember, a book is a specific moment in time where the character is growing and changing. It's the same with a memoir. You're not going to talk about every little 5 minutes of your life. You're going to talk about the things that forced you to grow and change and become the person that you are today. You're going to leave out all of the extraneous details and just focus on that journey of growth. So for your first writing exercise, I want you to make a list of internal conflicts that your character could have. And there's probably going to be a lot of them because we all have a lot of insecurities and doubts and anxieties. If you're having trouble with this, then first try it on a movie you have watched or a book you have read. Look at that character that you know really well and list their internal conflicts. Then go back and list them with your own character. These are the things that your character will battle to overcome emotionally because deep down inside want that internal goal so much. They may not know it, they may not show it, and they may deny it right up until just about the end. And the reader's going to cheer them the whole way because the reader really wants to see them do that. For your last writing exercise in this particular series, I want you to write another sentence, just like you did with the external plot. I want you to write one that says, my character wants what emotionally? And do they want revenge? Do they want acceptance? Do they want safety? Do they want security? What do they want emotionally in their gut? Then write why. That's the because. My character wants what? Because that is the motivation. And then talk about what is getting in their way. Character wants this because but. Those are the 3 words that you want to really focus on. Write that out and have those 2 sentences, the one you did for the external plot in the last series and the one that you're doing for the internal plot. Keep those right above your computer so that when you're writing, you can look up and say, okay, is this feeding into this? Is this showing growth? Is this bringing this out in this character? If it isn't, probably needs to go. The last tip that I will give you, and it's the thing that really turned things around for me, was to learn to put conflict on every single page. The characters have this internal war going on, even in us every day. I don't know if I deserve this, or maybe I shouldn't be this happy. Even when you're happy, sometimes you have an internal war. Is this gonna last? Those are internal conflicts. Or you fall in love and you're thinking, he's going to hurt me. I'm going to leave before he does that. That's an internal conflict. That's the thing that's telling you to run instead of stay. Those are the things you really want to know about your character and you want to show on every single page, because those are the things that the reader connects with. Those are the things that the reader understands. And when the reader connects emotionally, they love your book. Come to our live streams on Fridays, because if you're struggling with any of this, you can ask me those questions in between our writings. It'd be a really great time to pick my brain and ask me questions about your work in progress and whatever you're struggling with. As always, I really appreciate you watching. I hope you have a great writing week, and I will see you on the other side of the page.
Jumpstart your writing.